Hey guys, what's up? And today we're going to be taking a look at and testing this 3D printed half-dart 25 round drum mag. Full disclosure, I didn't design or publish these files. I will post a link to the author on Thingiverse where you can download and try these out for yourself. So this is how the pieces came off of both of my printers. I used an Ender 3 Pro for both of these. So I printed them face down with the flat side facing down. There's a slight lip, and this was kind of a long print, so I ended up doing a brim on this, just mostly to help with the support over here, because there's a little bit of a lip that sticks out, and I wanted that to print well, so I found that supports tend to fail without something under them, so I just used a brim rather than a raft because it's a lot less material and it's a bit easier to remove. So I will peel off all the support material off of both of these pieces, and then they should be good to go. The little follower piece I just printed straight up because it didn't really have anything major with it. There's a little bit of an overhang on the inside, but that shouldn't be anything too hard for most printers with an active cooling system. Now I have a little bit of an elephant's foot on here, so I might have to sand this bottom a bit just to make it flow a little more smoothly, so I'm going to do that before I put it into the magazine. So this is what my piece looks like cleaned up. I went around the edge with an X-Acto knife, so I was able to clear out the supports, and then I cleared out the edge, so it printed pretty well. I think the print quality for my machine is pretty dialed in because I've been using it a lot, so it should give it the best shot of working. I hit it with a heat gun as well to remove any small little strings or anything from the inside, so it should be nice and smooth. Now we can put it together. This is the other half now. I put in the Foam Blast drum spring with the little follower that I sanded down. So as you can see here, it just sits over that little lip, and then it sits on the inside, and then the coil of the spring sits under in the little recess here, and that allows it to move down as it goes. So now I'm going to just close both of the halves together, and I'm just going to hold it together with tape for now in case I need to make a little more sanding or anything on the follower or make any little adjustments, but for right now we'll just hold it together with tape so that way we can test it out. Okay, so now that it's held together with tape, the overall build construction is pretty easy. You just slap the two pieces together, and then I assume you glue it. For right now, it seems like it's fairly sturdy. I'm sure the glue would help it a bit, so I think we can give it a shot and load it up. It's supposed to take 25 half-length darts. So I've been forcing it a little bit towards the end. It seems like it's really sort of gummed up after about 15 darts, so I would assume somewhere around here-ish once you get to that curved section. So might have to open it up and sand it, or just see if it's getting stuck on something in particular, but I've been sort of jamming those darts in for the last couple, and it won't really go any further. I'm going to see if I can open this without it exploding everywhere so we can sort of get an idea of what's going on with the blaster. I guess I'll flip it over. Just take off the... It actually is holding up pretty well. It just seems to be gumming up at the end. So I don't know if it's a function of the darts just squishing together, because it seems like they were quite compressed. I don't know if the darts actually would have enough force now that I'm thinking about it, since you're just pushing down on the darts. You're not actually there's nothing to like guide the follower through from the outside, like there's not like a nub sticking through the shell or anything. So the only thing pushing the follower through the magazine is just the darts. So I'd imagine they just keep compressing until eventually it just becomes sort of a squishy mess. So let's put the top back on. Maybe we can see if we can push it through, because it looks like it will go further. It just seems like getting stuck. Like the curve might be giving it a bit of trouble. It's kind of hard to see, but Seems like definitely takes a lot of force to keep pushing it through this curve, so that might be our problem right there. On attempt 2, I was able to squeeze about 20 darts in, but I could probably get 21 in, but it's really got a lot of force in here. I want to see if it'll actually feed with this many, or if it's just going to get jammed up when it rebounds through the system. This curve might be giving it a bit of trouble, but we can give it a shot. I unfortunately do not have a flywheeler to test this. It might be interesting to do like a full auto flywheel half dart blaster to test this with, just to see if it could keep up with that sort of high rate of fire. But it worked fine for springers, as you saw with the Dartzone Pro a second ago. So maybe let's sand down the follower a bit, and we will see if we can get it to hold the 25 rounds. Also, one other note, I did have it on the wrong side. It would ideally go on the other one, but the support material on mine fused in, so you almost can't even tell where it was, but it should have been right there and there. Would have been my ridges to remove it. So I'm just sticking with the other side because I didn't want to break the mag before I finished filming this video, but I'll play with that later. So in order to give this guy the best shot possible, I went through and I took the follower out and I sanded all of the surfaces that make contact with the magazine quite aggressively, so hopefully that'll even out some of the ridge lines. My printing quality is pretty good generally, but in the nature of FDM printing, when you have that many tiny layers built on top of each other, some of them are going to be quite even. And although it looks smooth, when you actually touch it, you could feel it very slightly. So sanding that down on all of the surfaces that make contact should give me the best chance. I still have 5 darts left to load into this magazine. However, I found that if you hold your finger into it and hold the darts about 1 or 2 positions lower than they would be normally, it tends to feed a bit better. There's still a bit of resistance, especially as you get towards the end, but I was able to get all 25 darts in using this method, and sanding it down definitely seems to have gotten it past that last part that it was getting stuck on. Like I mentioned, it was a bit of a struggle to load those last couple ones in. It is pretty tight. You could probably jam a 26 one in there if you really wanted to, but I don't know if that would affect feeding, so we're just going to leave it at 25, and it's still got a bit of springiness to it, which is good. It's definitely not as smooth as like a factory magazine, but it's almost twice the capacity of a standard 15 round Talon. So let's give it a shot just to make sure it cycles with the 25 rounds, and then if it does, it should be good to go and we can glue this bad boy together. So same as with the 20, it was able to fire all the darts at a Springer rate of fire without jamming or causing any feeding issues, so that's good. Like I said, I don't have a electronic half dart size blaster that would be full auto to really push the limits of how fast it could feed, but for now it's fine with Springers. I'd also noticed too, when I went to fire my last shot, the follower sticks up high enough on the magazine where the pusher actually made contact with it, so I couldn't dry fire the blaster because I couldn't finish the priming cycle. There are little ramps on the side here, but it looks like the follower does go up far enough to sort of block that pusher, which is a nice feature. I don't think I'll be replacing my mags anytime soon with all of these guys, as they are a little weird shaped and they'd be kind of hard to carry, but it might be fun to have one for starting around, or just have if you had a bunch of single carriers and curve these away from yourself on either a belt or a chest piece, it might work pretty well. I'll post the links to where you can download and 3D print your own in the description box below. He also has a Talon and a Katana version available. So I used the Talon one for this, but there is a Katana compatible one as well, which would be kind of nice because you could get the mag release in with it if you have one of those adapters, or I think there's newer Talon adapters that actually have the mag release, which would be a little nicer. As always guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in another video.